Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Moving on. So a couple of things I want to talk about in the, excuse me, I got this dry cough. I don't know if it's allergies or something, but a couple of things I want to focus on is the Best of Web results. Last meeting, we told you that we submitted the state portal into the Best of Web contest by Digital Government, so we're going to give you an update on that. Want to talk about the version 5 beta, state template version 4.5 patch, and just the general template roadmap moving forward. So, as you know, the results came in. You may or may not know, actually. Excuse me. And we didn't make the top 5, but we made the top 10. And so we still consider that a success for a couple of reasons. Actually, this last year, a lot of states participated. I mean, almost all of them participated, I believe. The other thing is the state portal was way behind. We've added tremendous value to the state template, and so, or to the portal, I should say. And so just from those kind of perspectives, I think it's a success. And the fact that we did make the finalist list is confirmation that we're on the right track. We have tons of more features that we want to add to the state portal and further integrate and provide more value. So that was just, I thought you guys would be interested in seeing how that basically, how the results came in. So, a state template version 5 beta. So initially we thought we would release the next state version. However, we want to take a beta approach. So we're going to first release a beta, and you can actually go to it now. For those of you at home, you can actually navigate to beta.template.webtools.ca.gov. You may be familiar with template.webtools.ca.gov. And so this beta site is going to showcase what the version 5 template is going to do for you. I can actually jump into it real quick and just show it off a little bit. So very similar to the portal. A lot of the language is going to be similar to the portal. It's just sample content, just for your reference. One of the biggest differences is that we had to figure out a way to help you showcase your branding, your department's logo. And so on the portal, the CA.gov logo is here, and there's really no space for your department's or agency's logo. So we've created space here and added, moved the CA.gov logo to the status bar, is what we call it. So that's one change, visible change that you'll see. The status bar can have whatever icons you want to have. You can put links in here. You can put additional. It's just another avenue for whatever you're trying to achieve. There's actually settings here where you can increase or decrease the font size on your website. You can actually switch to a high contrast mode. So we'll be adding a lot more features to this. This is just the starting point. So for example, here you may not want to have the search bar in the middle. You might have some other imaging you want to have in here. These sort of like search menu buttons can be different. You can only have one or two, or you can have none. It's really depending on what your goal is, what you're trying to communicate with the template. This large hero banner image doesn't have to be there. It's just one option, right? So perhaps in your site you're going to have a smaller banner or maybe a rotating banner like in here. And I know on this screen is very small, so it's hard to see the difference, but essentially having this here. Yeah, I think something's going on here with I'm not sure why I'm missing a couple of buttons here. Let me just try this. So anyway, we're just trying to give you more options. I think it just has to do with the WebEx and all that, but So you may want a rotating slideshow banner, or you may just want to jump into your content, right? And just, yeah, I'm not sure. Let's see. Okay, there we go. I think what happened is this website was preloaded to the computer before, so it was that older version of it. So, for example, yeah, this is another option where you may want to have a slideshow banner. We're changing up the way that looks a little bit. Or you could just jump into a page. So our goal is to give you as many tools and as many options as possible to successfully communicate what you're trying to communicate in your website. On the portal, one of the big focuses was the whole aspect of showcasing services, right? This module here, we're still going to provide more feedback on how to use this correctly. This was pretty complicated to pull off, so for the state template, it might be a slightly different version of this, something a little more simple to use, but we definitely want to give you more options as far as featuring your content, and especially services, and sort of correlate or be on the same page as the portals, feature your services, what value are you providing to your constituents. So you can definitely have that option. And then we just added some more features. You know, we've got charts, we've got all kinds of stuff. Well, actually, let me jump into this slide. Oops. I think, what did I do here? This is, I'm assuming this is the presentation here. Okay. So I have a slide on all the new features that we have. And this is it right here. Too many buttons here, Michael. We got to get rid of some of this stuff. All right, so let's try this again. Okay, so this slide here kind of shows the new features that we've added to version 5. Lots of this stuff that you're going to see on the actual example site is going to be the same with version 4, because if you remember, that was our promises. We're going to build on version 4, and if you migrated to version 4, you haven't wasted your efforts. The goal is that you're going to be able to take this package here, plug all that code into your existing version 4 site, and 99% of the stuff is just going to work. You might have to make a couple of minor changes to your navigation, perhaps, or maybe even not. So we're currently, if you ask me what the biggest challenge is, it's that forward compatibility, right? It's ensuring that if you're on version 4 and moving forward, what you have in version 4 is still going to work with version 5 and so on. And so that's kind of like been our biggest challenge. And essentially, in the next, by the end of this month, my goal is to, our team's goal is to give you a package that you can download and instructions where you can literally take your existing website, apply the new code and template, and your site should still work. So this is kind of like our goal. And really, the whole approach with the beta is that we want you guys, we want your feedback. We want you to partner with us. This is your template as much as it is our template. So we really want your feedback, and especially feedback as far as when you apply the new code to your existing version 4 site, what breaks, what doesn't, what works, what doesn't. So this is going to be, we're really going to be looking at you guys to provide that feedback fairly quickly. Our goal is to have a final release of the template, version 5 template, by the end of this year. So that's kind of like the goal we're shooting for. So we're definitely going to need your cooperation on this. So I can just show you a couple of the features that we've got. So we've added more icons. So in the previous version of the template, I believe we had 124 icons. In this one, we have 224, I believe. Let's see. So it's going to give you a lot more options as far as what you can do with your content. Obviously, you've noticed that the menu has icons now. We've added icons to the menu. Sorry about the cough, guys. So let me show you some of the new icons here. So as you can see, just a much more extensive list of the type of icons you can at your disposal now to help you communicate your message on the website or enhance your content. It's a pretty long list actually. Obviously, you can add more icons if you wanted to. You can download an icon font and just include that into your template configuration, and you can have access to more. Let's see. What else we got? So we have. So the navigation is sort of another big change. Is got the mega menu. As you notice, we got this grid system for the navigation, where you have a 1 unit, a 2 unit, which is has a description, and you have content now. You can put content into your navigation. So, for example, on one of these main navigation links, landing links, if you want to feature something, maybe you want to put like a news update or something, you have a place to do that right into your navigation. Right now, as far as the forward compatibility with version 4, we're hoping to nail that down fairly quickly here. Excuse me. Essentially, there may be, so these are new features, right? So mixed content with navigation and the concept of columns and units and all this. So our goal is, once we finalize this, your version 4 navigation menu is going to still work. But if you want to make it look like this, you're going to want to take advantage of these new classes and structure. Let's see. We've got accordions now. So let's look at accordions real quick. And these are essentially, in version 4, they were these things here. Now they're in these panels. There's just a new way to do accordions. We got animations as well. So if you wanted to animate something, just, obviously don't overuse this feature, but but you can. I mean, a lot of these are kind of cheesy, but at least they're there. If you wanted to grab someone's attention with it, maybe. Let's see. Then we got block quotes, and this is where, let's say you have an article and you just want to feature someone's quote, something like that. It's be useful for that. Cards. So this concept of cards. Let's see, cards. So these essentially have a couple of variations. It just gives you a piece of content that lets you quickly feature whatever you're trying to feature, whether it's a service, whether it's a list of an item. The variations are, you can have, so we have these colors and things like that. So we have this schema of various type of, how do you want to say this, different styles that communicate levels of importance or hierarchy on the page, right? So some of these are more subdued, some of these are more bold, some of them have a header or a footer. So this example here is a card that has a header on the top. Here's a card with a header on the bottom. So it just depends. We're just trying to give you more options with your content here. So for example, if you had a directory page of whatever, and you have a list of these things, so instead of just doing a boring list, you could display whatever your content is in these cards. Whether it be services or really anything that you can fit in there. Okay. Content sliders. So let's see. Content sliders. Where are they? I think this is actually Yeah. So we've added more content sliders or carousels, if you will. As you can see, got a few different options here. We have content sliders that adjust to your content. We have sliders that adjust to the size of the image. Oh, this is going to start playing something. Don't want to do that. We have a video carousel. So if you have a YouTube channel or you want to feature some videos, you can always do that. Okay, let's stop that. And then you have the more traditional version 4 type media sliders with or without panel, etc. You have a link carousel, link icon. You have a social media slider. So if you have social media, trying to feature your social media or any kind of social media channel, you can always throw that in there in the slider. Fully responsive as well. Now we got, we also have charts. So a lot of you want to display data, and this is pretty useful. You can display dynamically or statically, really. I mean, you can chart and different types of bars, line bars, or pie charts, different dashboard type elements. So this is sort of like the beginning of data visualization, right? Helping you visualize whatever data you have or messaging on your site. As you can see, it comes with these little features here where you can actually interact with these elements. You can zoom in, you can save it, you can download an image of it, sort of giving you some options there. So for now, we have a bar chart, line chart, pie chart, and we have a kind of like a dashboard. I don't know what you want, a gauge, I suppose. So that's some of that. Media object. Another thing we have is number counters. So you may have noticed on the CA.gov portal, if you go to the page or different pages, there's different numbers there. So this is another content utility you can use for that and visualize different numbers on your website. And as you can see, it just sort of like does this animation where it counts to the number, which is kind of neat. Panels also stay the same with version 4, except you can see they're more streamlined and don't have the rounded edges, don't have none of that, a lot of that extra styling that we used to have, the drop shadows and all that stuff. It's more clean and modern. You have panels with photos as well, same thing. So a lot of these content items, we're actually going to update the look and feel of them as well as moving forward. But the good thing is the structure is going to stay the same. So if you use these, as new styling becomes available, as new patches roll out, the look and feel of these will, you can take advantage of that without any extra work. Let's see what we got. So progress bars, I mean, that was there before. That's kind of like a bootstrap thing. We got sections, so this is kind of like a new thing where we have this hierarchy of different sections, and so the big difference between version 4 and 5 is we used to have this wrapper class in version 4, and with version 5, your content goes into sections. And so this gives you a lot more flexibility on the page. And so you have your default section, which is most folks are going to use probably. And then you have different types of levels. And so this stuff here, it's just content within the section just to show you how it would look. So you have section understated, you have section overstated, and just a list of other sections. And as for the final release, I'm not sure if we're going to have all of these or these are going to change slightly. This is a beta, so stuff will change on this as we get feedback and as we finalize this and do more testing on it. One thing I did want to point out is, if you're not dizzy yet, is, let's see. Oh, we have this thing called parallax background, so some of you have asked for that. So, of course, this is Internet Explorer, so it's not, it's working, but yeah, it's working, but it's kind of choppy. But you could see, let's see if I can do a smoother effect for you, but as you scroll down, you have a background image, and it kind of get this neat parallax effect. That's kind of like something that you see on the modern web, if you will. Some people use that. We have this thing about we have these this new thing called testimonials, and this is essentially if you have a quote from someone, or also kind of like in a card format, you can have an image and a quote by somebody, whether that's like an exec or just somebody that you're trying to feature. Just different configurations of that. So that's a new content item there you can play with. Now we have text accent colors. So if you wanted to quickly sort of change the colors of your text without any kind of inline CSS or anything, you can just change the class and quickly change the colors. And these would change per color scheme, I believe. So this is something that you can use as well. Talked about the video carousel. There's just a generic toggle feature where you can use just a button to toggle content below it. So just another way, I suppose, to feature content. So we talked about the content carousel, we talked about social media and the additional icons. So that hopefully kind of gives you an idea. I mean, it's kind of, the best thing is just for you to jump on this beta.templatewebtools.ca.gov and just play around with it, look at all the features. We are going to be adding a lot more content sometime within the next week or two. We're going to add the instructions on how to utilize this, as far as if you're on version 4, how to apply this to your version 4 site. Obviously, you could just, if you have the staff and resources, you could just start fresh with this, you know, and you can just, but really your pages are, if you dump them in, they're still going to work because the structure of the page is still the same. So obviously, you're just going to have to pay more attention to like your header and footer areas, and some customizing some of these things, and especially the navigation. So that's that. So I guess the biggest takeaway from this is get out there, start looking at it. We're going to send an announcement when the official download is going to be available. It's going to be within the next week or two. And so once you get that link, please start testing it and give us feedback, and you'll see more communication about that. How am I doing on time? Got some time? Okay. So, and that takes me to the next thing. While that's happening, we're also going to release a patch to version 4. And this patch is sort of like a quick win, right? It's going to, with very low risk, update your website, give it a more modern look and feel, get rid of the swooshes and get rid of all those drop shadows and all that extra CSS, and take you a step closer to version 5 template. So it's not going to be version 5 template, but it'll take you very quickly much closer than you are in version 4. And so this is going to have some additional fixes. I'm not going to go over all of them, what they're all going to be, but yes, so this is also going to be available fairly soon here within the next month, I think, but the end of October is kind of my goal, is to release this. And yeah, you should be able to take advantage of this fairly easily without a lot of risk. Once again, streamlining some of the components, just kind of taking advantage of the full screen, no more borders, you know, things like that. changing up how the slide chart banner works a little bit. But once again, with this, you should be able to drop the new files of this with this patch, like basically CSS and JavaScript, and I don't think you're going to have to do anything else. And your current website should just work and look like this. So very low risk and very quickly to adopt. We're hoping you're going to, those of you that are sort of like on an extended schedule for adopting version 5 template, I hope you're going to jump on this, because this looks a lot closer to the portal than version 4 does. So, and I'm not going to go through the examples, it's the same stuff. Eric, there's a question?
You mentioned different flavors of the template, that's small and
Yes.
harder in this case.
Yeah, definitely. That's in a later slide, but I'll get to it. Yeah. So that's version 4.5. Keep an eye out for that as well. And it's kind of hard to show it off on this browser, but we're actually going to have we're probably going to have a link to this as well on the web, but we don't have it yet.
Hey, Art?
Yeah.
I did want to give a shameless plug for the State Web Publishing Service.
Sure.
That come first quarter of 2017, the ability to switch from one template to another will simply be accessing the administrative panel, go to the theme, select the drop-down, pick your template, click Save, and your site will be upgraded or downgraded if for some reason you want to go back to whatever templates are in the list. And when we deliver the service, first quarter 17, there'll be 3 in there, the 4.0, this interim, 4.5, and then the 5.0.
Yeah, and we haven't talked about, yes, and we haven't talked about how we're going to deal with this, but there's going to be a deprecation schedule where, like 4.0 is going to just go away, and then you're going to be on 5.0. So that's kind of the goal, is to get more people to 5.0 as quickly as possible. So think of these as like quick wins, quick steps to get in there. The only reason CA Web does have 4.0 because that's the only official release currently of the state template. So as we have a stable release of version 5, as we have version 4.5, those people automatically be upgraded to those templates. I think that's kind of the goal, the idea here, is we want to have a cohesive look, not only just for the competition Best of Web, but just really for the state. Just kind of give the consumers that consistent look and feel and the user experience. So that's version 4.5. And just kind of wanted to mention, reiterate a couple of points as far as like what our roadmap is going into the future. So one of our first goals is going to be to gather your feedback from the beta release. So that's going to be critical. That's where you're going to partner with us and help us build out and finish out the final release of version 5 template. The release of the version 5 template is going to be, as Eric mentioned, it's going to have several flavors. It's definitely going to have a PHP version. It's going to have .NET with MVC and Razor methodologies, and then what else is there? Well, obviously the WordPress. WordPress is going to be another template version. We're also going to open source the template. So we're actually going to put the state template code on GitHub, and we're going to start to get more feedback, hopefully, from the community and just people on the internet, just the community in general. We know that other countries or just other states or organizations have used our template before, so why not open source the template? Why not leverage that community feedback and the collaboration? So that's kind of like one of the major things we want to do. So sorry about the cough. One of the other things we're thinking about is doing a CDN, where utilizing CDN, so content delivery network. So essentially packaging up all the code that's required for the template as far as the CSS, the JavaScript, whatever makes it work, just put that on a CDN. And so what that means is that's less code for you. You just include those things into the template, and you could leverage that sort of like you do now with some other libraries like Java or jQuery or other things like that. And really, I don't know if you guys are familiar. So kind of like our vision for this is to create a framework for you. So the state template is built on a framework. It's Bootstrap right now, but we want to create a framework for the state. We want to create a state framework that all of you guys can have feedback on, but also just create a standard, right, for the state for web publishing, more than a template, really. And so I don't know if you guys are familiar. I could show this to you real quick with so this organization 18F. It's they work together with the federal government, have put together the U.S. web standards framework, and so I believe it's in draft right now. Let's see if I can. So essentially, they've put together standards for publishing on the web for government websites. I think their focus is more on federal websites, but regardless, we can have our own standard for the state of California, right? And as you can see, what they've done here is they've covered lots of different areas. It's similar to the template, what we have in the template as far as we have all these different features and stuff. And so this is sort of like where we want the state template to end up, is to become a framework. So you can leverage it in many different ways. I mean, we've even discussed making it server technology agnostic and creating versions of the template where they're rendered right on the in the browser client side. So essentially, you could run them anywhere. You know, they just happen as long as you utilize the framework. So that's kind of like into the future, but that's definitely one of our major goals, is to make the state template more of a framework. So also, what some of that stuff will help us do is be able to, for us to, like, so for example, right now you can go to Bootstrap and you could literally customize a whole bunch of different things about that and hit a button and it'll give you your own custom version of Bootstrap as far as like your customized version of that. So that's one of the goals, is to literally have the state template. You go on there, you put in your information, your department names, your links, whatever else you need to put in there, maybe your main branding colors, right? And you hit a button and it gives you your own flavor, customized flavor of the state template right there out of the box, you know, ready to go. So, I mean, we're looking at things like that in the future. So I think it'll hopefully provide good value for you guys and allow for more adoption. So that pretty much covers up the state template update.